what's your opinion on their evaluation of the safety of Malathion and where they get their opinion of that?
Yeah, that's the question right there. It's where they get their opinion. There's reevaluation document after reevaluation document. And I'm going to switch your topic from Malathion for a minute to 2,4-D, if that's okay. We'll talk about that one. Because I can tell you with absolute certainty that the people that reevaluated 2,4-D are the industry. They sit on what's called the 2,4-D Reevaluation Task Force. This is a federal government committee of Health Canada, and the people sitting on this committee are industry representatives. I'm sure that this happens for every committee that you can imagine at Health Canada. We have lots of Health Canada whistleblowers who have been fired, doctors with lots of credentials, more than I do, that can tell you that these are the things that are going on in Health Canada. This isn't just my say-so. But, so, they just keep reevaluating these things because they're buying the science, they're buying the so-called evidence that these things are supposedly safe. But what they do when they are evaluating the safety of a pesticide is that they evaluate it in isolation, meaning that one only pesticide and only that one. How does that affect somebody? And what they look for is the maximum, is the acute symptom. Like how much do they need to give a person an acute reaction in one exposure? But the reality of the way we're exposed to pesticides is, first of all, it's never just one exposure. Second of all, it's never in isolation. 2,4-D is a combination of 3 different things. They always use it in combination with 2 other things. So they're not used in isolation like that. They're used together. And we're exposed together. We're never just exposed to one thing in a day. So they can't evaluate them in any way that makes sense at all. They're only evaluating them to get the numbers that they want to get so they can keep on selling this stuff and keep on poisoning us. They don't care about our health. The client of Health Canada is the registrant. That is the registrant. They are Health Canada's client, not us, not the people of Canada. They are not working for us. Health Canada works for the people who register chemicals, period.
About the impurities in the Malathion because of the way they store it.
Right. Well, I have to say that we have had some little successes along the way. Like, clearly they're still using pesticides in Winnipeg, but there have been some improvements, and one of them is that you're talking about. In going back to 2002 and 2003, 2002 I guess it would have been, in Wolseley, just over there somewhere, we had a town hall, public information session, and we were in an auditorium where there was some chairs up on top of a stage and a whole bunch of chairs set out in the rest of the room. So the people were down on the floor, and the people from the city and the government were up on top of this dais, you know, above us looking down. And the irony was that we were about the same numbers. You know, there were maybe a dozen of us and maybe a half a dozen of them. We could have been sitting down face to face like you and I are talking right now, but they had to be way up there to have that sense of superiority and, you know, we will tell you what to do and you will do it kind of thing. But anyway, that day we put them on the spot about this issue of temperature control. There were some medical officers of health there that day. I recall that Pierre Plourde was one of them. And he was shocked and stunned when he learned from us that the Malathion being used in Winnipeg at that time was not controlled in a temperature-controlled setting. It was just out in a shed someplace where the temperatures could reach up to 100 degrees Fahrenheit or more. And it is known, well known and well documented, even notwithstanding the fact that EPA has put down a bunch of its evidence about Malathion's toxicity off of its website and hidden their library of pesticide information, but it's still obvious and well known that high temperatures cause Malathion to break down. And one of the breakdown products is known as isomalathion and malaoxon. Malaoxon breaks down on the ground afterwards, after it's been sprayed, but isomalathion might be present in it even before it's been used. And Malathion has been documented to be, I've seen estimates that say as much as 40, from as low as 40 to as high as 1,000 times more toxic than malathion. I'm going to say that again. The breakdown product of malathion that we're actually walking on and putting our children in the grass to sit on and on playground equipment to play on is 1,000 times more toxic than malathion itself. So, going back to PMRA and Health Canada and how they register things, they don't register malathion. They don't register isomalathion. They register malathion. So there's the difference in toxicity between what we're really getting exposed to or could potentially being exposed to and what they register as safe to use if followed, if all label directions are followed. That's their out. They always have that little proviso at the end, if label directions are followed. Well, no, people who apply their own pesticides on their lawns, they never read labels. They don't even know what the label directions say. Yeah, so that's the breakdown product story. The other thing about the breakdown products is that we track them on our shoes, we bring them in our houses, in our restaurants, we wipe our shoes on our carpets and our rugs, and we walk around all over the place, and we leave those breakdown products in our homes, where they can then be absorbed in our bodies. And they're known, they have been proven to be around for as long as a year. So right now we're still walking on last year's malathion breakdown products in our homes, and they're out there spraying them.
There was also, I found this study showing that they found quite a bit of malathion in river basins and stuff.
Yep.
And it just actually persists in the environment for much longer than we realize, I guess. Though those studies are conflicting.
Yes, the studies are conflicting because you have to look at who's paying for the studies. If the industry is paying for the studies, they always will tell you that there are no breakdown products. They break down quickly in the environment. They don't harm humans. They don't harm anything. But if other people are doing the studies, and it's hard to get that information out there, if it's not something industry wants heard, it's really hard to get it published. But